Welcome, Patriots, to WNHS-TV. I'm Logan Pring.
And I'm Courtney Jersel. On this episode, we've got reporting on events happening around the school, fall and winter sports, and entertainment.
But first, our lead story. It's 2024, which means the time for America to decide on a new president is here. Sharing different opinions and keeping an open mind are important when it comes time to supporting candidates.
The 2024 election is wrapped up, and at the time of this story airing, most likely the results are out. The results of the last couple of U.S. elections have been questioned due to claims of voter fraud. These claims have been systematically disproven, which Congressman Steny Hoyer explains.
We have a lot of volunteers, we have a lot of professionals really committed to having honest, fair elections. And the courts have held we have fair, honest elections, overwhelmingly, here, certainly, and around the country. But it's unfortunate that Mr. Trump and others are trying to create doubt among the American public, notwithstanding the facts, notwithstanding the court cases, that somehow these elections that are run in America are not indicative of the public's will. They are. And to undermine confidence in that is to undermine our democracy.
Belief in election fraud seems pretty split among partisan lines. Democrats seem to have faith in the election.
I feel like it's completely secure.
Similar at the national level, you think?
100%.
While Republicans seem more skeptical.
At the local level, I believe it's very secure.
Okay. At the national level, do you think it's secure?
I'm not sure. There are discussions about it not being secure. I don't know. Here's the thing. The seed of doubt has been planted.
Even with differences in opinions, people seem pretty excited to be at the booths.
I think it's been very encouraging. People have come up, they've asked questions, everyone's been super polite. It's been a great day.
By and large, people have been civil and just coming to exercise their right to vote and bringing their children, which I think is pretty nice to see, getting the kids involved. So,
elections are stressful times. Claims of election fraud can make the stress much worse. But it's important to remember during this time that the United States has a free and fair election system that has proven its security over the years. This is Gabe Zagafis.
Thank you, Gabe, for that reporting. The results are still coming in, but it appears that Donald Trump will win a second term as president. The three conservative candidates running for the Calvert County Board of Ed have also won their respective races.
With every new school year comes new freshmen that are beginning their journey in high school. This year's freshman class of 2028 is a class of about 200 kids, coming from different middle schools where the classes and rules are vastly different. They are also meeting a bunch of new people, new friendships and groups are forming every day. And it's no secret that Northern offers a variety of new activities to do and experience, and that are allowing these freshmen to become more connected to the school and the people in it.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's definitely a lot more freedom. And I mean, the classes are tougher, but it's fun.
The 2024 MLB season has...
It's good to see the new class of kids already excited for the future of their high school careers.
This year's World Series contained two powerhouse teams in the Yankees and the Dodgers, who were both the #1 seed in their respective conferences. Prior to the start of the World Series, Isaac Summers went around the school and asked students about their predictions and opinions. Here's Isaac Summers with more.
Has come to a close with a World Series between two powerhouse teams, leaving conflicted feelings among fans.
It's going to be good and high scoring because it's two super teams and the #1 seeds.
Dodgers, Yankees, I think it's going to be great. You know, two of the best teams in the league. Finally, #1 seeds finally going at it in the World Series.
Along with mixed emotions being present, fans also were split on which team would come out on top. With the superstar-filled lineup of the Dodgers and the lights-out pitching and some heavy hitters from the Yankees, the series was bound to be a thriller.
I think the Dodgers will win because they have a better pitching staff.
I think the Dodgers will definitely win the World Series in 4. Clean sweep. Pitching will be the deciding factor because it's always about the lineups, but the pitching is the biggest this year.
I'm taking Yankees in 6. I think Juan Soto's going to have a really big series.
The tone of the series was set early with a Game 1 shootout, which was ended by a first walk-off grand slam in World Series history. This being hit by Dodgers' Freddie Freeman, giving them a 1-0 lead in the long 7-game series. The momentum from that home run carried through the next 3 games for the Dodgers, and especially Freddie Freeman. Freeman hit home runs in games 1 through 4, extending his streak to a record-setting 6 straight World Series games with a home run. Although the Yankees took a Game 4 and a 5-0 lead in Game 5, many fifth-inning errors and blunders led to the Dodgers being the 2024 World Series champions. This is Isaac Summers with WNHS-TV.
This year, our football team ended the season with a 5-4 regular season record, and this past Saturday, they defeated Northeast High School in a dominating fashion, 49-0, to advance to the second round of the playoffs. Star wide receiver Omari Tyshawn Mitchell feels confident about the team going into the playoffs and feels the team will make a run all the way to states.
Omari.
We'll be successful, and I feel like we can make a states run. I feel like we can beat every team that's in the bracket. Our offense and the way our defense has been playing, I feel like we can make it all.
Speaking of football, the NFL has been very surprising this season, with teams like the Washington Commanders rising after last season. WNHS reporter Hudson Globitz found that students and teachers have interesting predictions for the playoffs.
It is November, which means we are halfway through the NFL season. The start to the year has had many surprises and exciting stories. Many surprising players, teams, rule changes, and more has led to an exciting and thrilling season.
I'd say the biggest surprise so far is the Minnesota Vikings, because they had a high draft pick because they weren't great last year, and their rookie QB got injured, and they had to go to Sam Darnold, who was a bust, and he's having a career renaissance, and they're 5-1.
The Commanders being so good because they were supposed to be bad, and Jaden Daniels is.
Since the first Super Bowl in the late 60s, there has been 20 teams to lift the Lombardi Trophy. You can say the game is diverse with its winners, but that hasn't been the case, as the Kansas City Chiefs have won the last 2 seasons. This year's Super Bowl is still up for grabs.
The Jets are going to have the worst record in the NFL.
And then the Commanders coming out of the East. No, that'll be my hot take. How about the Commanders come out of the East?
Without a doubt, the rest of the season will be crammed packed with action. We've already seen big trades, big games, and big stories this year. As we fly into the second half of the year, you should be expecting the same. The window for making the playoffs is still wide open for every team, but it's not going to be easy with some jam-packed division races. I'm Hudson Globitz reporting with WNHS-TV.
Fantasy football is a fun tradition every football season where friends and family get to draft their own football team and get to compete against each other in friendly and sometimes competitive matches for prizes like money and just outright bragging rights. Until the next football season, here's WNHS reporter Chase Page with more.
Who doesn't like betting money on football? Fantasy football is a tradition in many friend groups. With unique forfeits at the end of the season, fantasy football is nothing to joke about. Relying on your favorite players is the name of the game.
Lamar Jackson.
Definitely Josh Allen. He's just world class. He knows what he's doing. Scores like 25 points a week, so he's been fantastic for me.
Definitely Jaden Daniels. He's put up at least 20 plus a week for me.
Saquon Barkley.
Players that stand out from the rest show consistency week in, week out, racking up points for their teams. As players get some games under their belt, there's a lot of tension formed, creating tense rivalries.
I don't like to call him a rival because he's not very good, but I think Quinton. I think he's like the greatest fantasy football player of all time, and it's just not true. Like, we will see at the end of the season. Do not worry, quote me right now.
My friend Oliver, because we're both battling out for last place right now. Both have 1 win.
On the other hand, you have players that look like they've never played a down of football in their life. Players that sell your team.
Jalen Waddle, he's horrible.
Christian McCaffrey, because he hasn't played in an actual game.
The milk mile was pretty bad. A lot of puking.
We have yet to see the best of the NFL season with plenty of games to go. Good luck to all participating in their respective fantasy football leagues. This is Chase Page reporting with WNHS.
Page had the honor of sitting down with one of the greatest players to ever put on the Northern jersey, our very own Sam Dick. Watching him bag 6 goals against Huntingtown, one could assume his parents must be so proud of him. He was nice enough to give us his time and let us behind the scenes of his dazzling performance and how he locks in before a game.
Could you walk us through your pregame thoughts before the H-Town game?
It's usually like no other game, same thing every time. Starts by, during school, I lock in, hydrate, and then after, well, it's different. Huntingtown's a different team, different school. It's counter rivalry, so gotta think about the players, how much this game matters, and then it's like any other game.
I like the consistency. It's important to stay locked in. But what were your thoughts during the first 15 minutes of the game when the game was still tied 0-0?
Personally, I thought we were about to either tie or lose because, well, I looked like it, but I knew we weren't going to lose.
How were you feeling at halftime when the score was 6-0? Were you comfortable, or were you kind of like, this could still be a game?
I was comfortable. I mean, 6-0 at halftime. I thought we were going to mercy rule them personally, but still, I was very comfortable with where we were at.
Again, love the confidence. So after they scored their first goal, were you feeling any sort of doubt or?
Not at all. Once they scored, I stopped worrying about going forward, and I worried about dropping the defense and helping out midfield.
Team player, love that. Is there any player you've idolized since you started playing from a young age?
Yeah, ever since I was little, I looked up to Neymar Jr., and then I've tried to match his play style, everything I could, be like him. And yeah.
I mean, he's a great player. I do respect that. Is there any part of his game that you try to mimic every time you step out onto the pitch?
Taking players on the wing, like one-on-one, out wide, and especially his dribbling style.
Yeah, it's good to have that confidence. Well, Sam, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And now we welcome our very own Hudson Glavitz for the Winter Sports Report.
The fall sports season is coming to an end. Many sports ended their year on a high note. Boys soccer had an impressive regular season and proved that they are a top team in SMAC. Girls soccer highlight was an impressive showing in regionals. Boys and girls cross country proudly had many runners go to regionals and states. Volleyball seemed to be unbeatable as they had a historic season, but it sadly ended in the state semifinals. Golf had a thrill of a season, winning the county championship. Field hockey had a solid season, winning many tough matchups. Football is finishing their great season as they play in the playoffs in the second round against South River Friday at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Hudson. Best of luck to all Northern teams that are finishing the fall season, and be sure to check out all of the winter teams that are forming right now. Basketball tryouts for both men and women start tomorrow.
And now with a look at our weather is WNHS weather reporter Isaac Summers. Isaac?
Good morning and thank you. We're looking at 50 degrees with some overcast skies right now. Temperatures should get up to 55 this afternoon, but with those warm temps are going to come some rain. That rain might roll over overnight into tomorrow morning, but shouldn't affect too much of your day. Saturday, the beginning of your weekend, expect a lot of sun. Still chilly temperatures despite the sunshine, with that sun carrying into your latter half of your weekend and into the early next week, but more on that tomorrow. That's a look at your weather. Now back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Isaac. Miss O'Donnell and her students took a trip to Costa Rica to explore the country's rich culture and see what it is like living there. This year, they plan on going to Cambodia to do the same thing. Here's WNHS reporter Sammy Crowns with more.
This past summer, students from NHS were able to embark on a new adventure. Costa Rica was a trip that will not be forgotten.
Yeah, it was really fun. The trip was really good. I got to see a lot of cool things there.
It was good. There was a lot of ups and downs with weather, and then struggle bus on flights and everything. We got stuck in Florida, New Orleans, and in Costa Rica for an extra few days.
We had a couple layovers, which made it pretty painful, but it was good. My favorite part was the boat day that we had. It was really fun. We got to see like a really cool beach.
Favorite part was definitely the friends that I made while I was there.
I would have to say zip lining. We went up like 2,000-foot mountain and got to zip line all the way down it.
I think it was about 30, including the students and the parents that came and the teachers.
This leaves NHS students even more excited for this year's upcoming trip to Cambodia.
This is Sammy Crowns reporting for WNHS.
Yo, Connor, chill.
Oh.
I know.
Wing it. Oh, Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead is a great celebration of life in Latin culture and begins on Halloween and ends on November 2nd. This celebration allows for people to celebrate their loved ones who have passed instead of mourning them. Spanish teacher Miss Lacerna talked about how she spends time with her family, eating and drinking, while they celebrate their loved ones.
The Day of the Dead is a great opportunity to celebrate people's lives opposed to always being sad about someone passing away. And as true Latin fashion, anytime we have an opportunity to celebrate, dance, eat, and drink, it's always a good opportunity. So it's definitely a lot of fun. It's a good way to remember everybody and have a good time.
And that sounds like a lot of fun. We wish everybody a happy belated Day of the Dead.
In celebration of Halloween, Crumble Cookies came out with a special Halloween menu. Actually, Courtney, you and WNHS photographer Michaela Jones got to try them.
Yep, we ranked the cookies from 1 to 10. The full review will be posted here on our YouTube channel. The Halloween cookies were very tasty, but you'll have to head to the YouTube channel page to see which ones come out on top.
Let's think about it. We can do like the Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp, it's...
No dummies. It can't. She's
Post a cookie bake-off every year around Christmas time where the kids from WNHS battle it out in the kitchen to see who can make the best cookies. Stay on the lookout for our next bake-off.
A lot of impressive games have come out this year, but which ones are the best? Here's Jason Randall with more.
I think Warhammer Space Marines 2 is going to be game of the year. It's a nice throwback to when I was playing Gears of War back in high school. It's really simple, no microtransactions really. Very solid game, a lot of fun to have co-op.
Probably Space Marine 2 because it's very popular because it was made purely for fun and that's what people wanted, basically.
Black Myth Wukong is definitely game of the year for me. It's my personal favorite, but my personal favorite is Elden Ring DLC, but I personally don't think a DLC should be able to win game of the year.
A recent tragedy has struck the profoundly famous boy band. Liam Payne, a member of One Direction, recently passed away from falling off his hotel balcony. In his remembrance, we look back on the accomplishments and history of the band.
Following the passing of Liam Payne, there's been a One Direction resurgence. Let's take a look back at the story of One Direction. One Direction was formed in 2010 on the British music competition show X Factor, members being Louis Tomlinson, Zayn Malik, Niall Horan, Harry Styles, and Liam Payne. The band's first single, What Makes You Beautiful, was released in September of 2011, soon followed by their first album, Up All Night, in November of that year. This album had hits like Gotta Be You and One Thing. The next year, on November 9th, 2012, the group's second studio album, Take Me Home, was released, featuring songs Live While We're Young, Kiss You, and Rock Me. This album won them Favorite Pop/Rock Album and Artist of the Year awards. After this, One Direction continued their tour, and on December 3rd, 2012, they played Madison Square Garden, selling it out almost immediately. On August 29th, 2013, the This Is Us film hit theaters, showing their Take Me Home tour. Later this year, the third album, Midnight Memories, was released with hits like You and I, Story of My Life, and Best Song Ever. This album prompted another tour and movie. Their next album, 4, was released on November 17th, 2014. The album had some of their most popular songs like Steal My Girl, 18, and Night Changes. This album would be their last with all 5 members, as Zayn would leave the group shortly after its release. The band's last album, Made in the AM, was released the following year on November 13th. It was the only One Direction album to not reach number 1, peaking at number 2. In 2016, the group went on an indefinite hiatus, marking the end of One Direction. They in total had 5 studio albums, released 109 songs, won 242 awards, and had over 70 million records sold, ultimately becoming one of the best-selling boy bands of all time. Even though One Direction may be over, their legacy will last forever. This is Majo DeRoche reporting for W.
That's all the time we have for this show. Patriots, second quarter just started. Make sure to stay on top of your work.
Also, be sure to follow our Instagram and Twitter at NHS Patriot Press to stay updated on all things broadcasting and newspaper. Have a great day, work hard, be kind, get involved, and as always, proud to be a Patriot.